name is Harvey Milk, and I want to recruit you.
Tonight, we're recreating two of several very militant street marches that occurred in the late 1970s as local gay rights ordinances, which had been enacted around the country, were repealed, most famously by Anita Bryant and her Save Our Children campaign. And so tonight, we're reenacting the march that occurred at this intersection after the defeat in Dade County, and then also after a similar defeat in Wichita, Kansas.
Well, for me, it was really important because I grew up there.
Tomorrow morning, the gay citizens of Wichita will also awaken. The 5 have lost their civil rights.
I was infuriated. It really hit home for me in the real way. And I never missed any of these marches. I was a galvanized gay activist, so it was important to be there. And we were very angry, and we had to march. We had to protest in the streets.
I know you're angry!
I remember that we were really sort of hit upside the head by the defeat. We marched a long way. I remember that.
I was in the heart of the Castro at that time, and I went back to New York. And I remember Dianne Feinstein coming out, announcing that they were shot and killed. And I watched it all on television in shock. And I remember the candlelight vigil. I remember hearing about the trial, the march down to City Hall, and where everybody breaking glass and turning over police cars.
Get the press to the marquee. Move left. Move left. What are you doing? What are you doing? We're shutting down traffic both directions.
I came to San Francisco as a kid from Phoenix, and so many of the people who were crammed into this neighborhood had fled their hometowns and come here really in search of a community and also to join a movement. And during these nighttime marches, we began to see that really crystallize and come true. And so for a great many of us, it was as if our most amazing, wildest dreams were really happening.
This was my initiation into political activism, working on his campaigns. I worked on 4 campaigns. He registered me to vote, and then I, in turn, went out and registered many people to vote, which was very gratifying because we finally did win.
Being here on the street with Harvey Milk in the late 70s was the most exciting time of my life. I was so lucky. To see it be reenacted and so faithful to the actual circumstances, everything from the hair to the wardrobe, the signs, the chants, it's all very, very real.
It's a time trip, really, because I made all the original banners, and now I'm making them again. And my friends are all saying, but you never sewed that well in 1978.
When I first saw them starting to change the facades in the Castro, I had a few tears in my eyes. You don't realize how things are time-specific until you see them. I noticed little subtleties that you don't see today, or even the shouting civil rights or civil war. That's so 70s.
The research done, especially by our art department, has just been extraordinary. We found thousands and thousands of photographs taken by people who are participating in these actions. The signs, the wardrobe, everything is just dead on. It's really quite remarkable.
I deliberately came here to be in the crowd. It feels great. I was very pleased to see a lot of younger people who wanted to do it, which shows that everything we did was not in vain. A lot of younger people don't appreciate, or they say, oh, really? You mean we couldn't do this, or we had to be in the closet? You know, they take it for granted. And we worked hard with doing things like this so we could be more open about ourselves.
I was 23 at the time, and it was very exciting, and I think all of us in the neighborhood, whether we were political or not, whether we were educated or not, we all knew that we were being allowed to participate in something that was brand new, that had never occurred before. And so there was an excitement and a sort of self-conscious awareness that what we were doing really was quite extraordinary.
I talked to a girl there who told me she took a class and saw a film about this. And I just thought that was the weirdest thing. You know, this is all like a movie or a book to her. And this is part of my past.
Harvey is best known as being the first openly gay man to be elected to public office. The first homosexual elected was a lesbian woman who was elected to the Massachusetts legislature 2 years before. Today, hundreds upon hundreds of openly gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender people are winning public office and bringing real leadership, not just for gay people, but for entire communities. And I think that's an extraordinary thing.
This was a gay man who was not of the stereotype. He was someone who was a store owner, he was a merchant, he was a member of the city council. I mean, he was someone who really tried to become the mainstream. He tried to fit in, and I think even at that time, the staunchest, straightest community people in San Francisco saw him as someone other than just a gay man.
He's somebody who gave his life to make a better world. We always had this sense of destiny around him, of foreboding, to put it mildly.
I fully realize that a person who stands for what I stand for, an activist, a gay activist, makes himself a target.
He was a courageous soul, and that story is powerful.
You think of him as a rebel, but he was really someone who really believed in the system. I mean, he was a politician and played the game, believed in the system. It was just such a tragedy that the possibility of what he could have done was cut short.
He was able to connect with really anybody. When you spoke with Harvey Milk, you knew he wasn't just putting on the right facial expression or making the necessary eye contact. He was really getting it. And that, I think, was the source of his power.
He had that ability to inspire you. And, when he called me up and saying, I need a banner for a march, it was a privilege. Gilbert, we need a logo. He called me up, we need a logo. As a drag queen, scene master, I thought, we should have a flag because we're a global tribe. So I hit on the rainbow. Harvey said it was, brilliant and genius. And the first day that we raised the flag, he said, this will be the most important thing that you ever do in your life. And it was.
It was the turning points for human culture to embrace same-sex lovers and treat us properly. And I've been very blessed to be part of something that will have such strong resonance in culture for now and forever.
This neighborhood lost a lot of people during the AIDS pandemic. And so I think for us old-timers in the neighborhood, it's kind of bittersweet because there's thousands upon thousands of people who were marching then and who are no longer with us.
We have the obligation and responsibility to spread hope. I mean, that's what Harvey infused in me, and I know many others, was that, we found our liberation and our voice, and we've applied our craft and our art to changing the world, but that has to keep going. Hopefully with this film, even farther and reach a whole generation and a whole audience that hasn't.
There is a place for us. My brothers and sisters, we can come home again.
He's smiling on this project. It's good energy here.